TMP Nation, I am putting this video out so you have a voice to discuss what happened in Las Vegas. I know my audience. I know a lot of you are concerned, saddened, angered by what happened in Las Vegas. I share all those feelings, by the way. And I want to have a forum for you to talk about it, to talk with other TMPers, because we are like-minded for the most part, and it will be good for you. That's what this is for. Primarily so you have a place here in TMP to talk about the shooting massacre in Las Vegas. Now, along those lines, I'll share a couple of opinions with you. I haven't done it in a long time, purposely. The last mass shooting that took place, I forget what it was, I did a political opinion piece. And I honestly said in that video, I'm tired of making these. Because yes, I do believe in an armed citizenry, totally. We'll get to, preventive measures, countermeasures here in a little bit. But philosophically, an armed populace is a safer populace. I've covered this many times. I believe in the civilian sheepdog concept, law enforcement sheepdog concept, still intact. You can go dig into the A-channel philosophy videos. Those are still out there. I've spoken at length on the Fort Hood shooting, the Virginia Tech shooting, the Aurora, Colorado shooting, and some others. I've addressed it a lot. I was hesitant, again, to make this video, but I decided, we need to talk about it. It's healthy to talk about things. It's not healthy to hold them in. And I want you to know my feelings on it as well. I mean, to a small degree, I guess that's what this video is about as well, but it's primarily for you in the comments to talk with each other. Same rules apply. Don't be a dick. Be cool with each other. If you're going to rant, go take it somewhere else. There's other forums for you to go ranting. But be polite, be respectful. Hopefully we are of similar mindset here in TMP Nation. I would like that to be the case. If things get totally out of control and obnoxious to us and the moderators here in TMP, myself, Tactical Doodle, Vera Linus, yes, she's still around, TMP moderators who are helping me, then we'll just shut down comments. That's kind of where we're at now. It gets crazy. And then the whole purpose of the video is defeated. I don't want that to happen. So be cool. And don't soapbox. Soapboxing is like you go on and on and on and on, trying to convince everybody, or getting very emotional, angry, and railing on someone, flaming them. Not welcomed here. Enough said. Wow. I've been listening to the news all day. I have. And you probably have as well. Today is 2 October. So I'm going to do everything in my power to get this video out quickly. Yes, I am filming from a deploy location in my travel trailer. Yes, there is a travel trailer in TMP. And it's harsh lighted, echoey, probably shadows, all that other poor production value crap. Sorry, you just got to put up with it. If you're like me, though, I don't really care about production values. I care about content. So if something's good and the guy's talking and I find it interesting, I'll watch the whole video. Don't know how long this video will go. I don't. Huge loss of life. Something we've never seen before in Las Vegas. Lots of prayers and hopes from us to them and their families, from all across the nation, of course. It's, man, it's just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. There's a couple things and concepts I want to convey to you in this video. Here's the first one. This is going to, and this is my prediction. You've heard it here first. This is going to have far-reaching consequences. What happened in Las Vegas. You are going to see this gain momentum. It's not going to die. It's not going to be put aside. The progressive left is going to push for additional gun control measures. I may address some of what I think will be coming down the road. And in a lot of ways, it's what they've been waiting for. Honestly, they have. Kind of a bigger event than Sandy Hook, and this is definitely it. From a white male shooter, they like that. It fits the narrative. Sorry, it just does. And they're going to push. I've always said in those response videos, in my gun control videos, and better said, in my pro self-defense videos, that, you know, universal gun registration, massive gun control is coming to this country. It's just a matter of when. And this might be the event that ushers that in. We do have some things in our favor. We do have President Trump, who's in office. We do have a Republican Congress. Awesome. But they are unreliable. Maybe Trump's a little bit more reliable, but he is unpredictable. So I guess since I'm talking about that, I'll press forward with that issue. There's a bunch of things I need to say, but Trump, will he sign off on, for instance, universal gun registration? Possibly. That's my prediction. What? Trump, man, he's pro-gun. NRA backed him up. NRA has his back. I know that, but Trump is very unpredictable. He's not the traditional political animal. And he may find that if I, acquiesce on the gun control issue, then maybe I get tax reform passed. Maybe I get my healthcare initiative passed. That's the way it happens in Washington. I know he wants to drain the swamp. I'm all for that. I say drain, drain, drain. Burn the swamp, says I. I hate it. And poor Trump, he's been fighting, trying to do that and not making much headway because it's very entrenched. So when he's faced with a huge consensus on, let's say, again, universal gun registration, UGR, what's he going to do? Is he going to sign it? Will it pass Congress? Well, it's been proven that a lot of Republicans are on board completely with, I always like calling it anti-self-defense laws. So to strip you of your Second Amendment constitutional, check that, God-given rights to self-defense. Talked about that a lot too. He could. So if you're sitting back and going, oh, there's no way it's going to pass, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But it could pass. And you could see some really onerous gun laws coming down the pike. In what form will that come? I don't know. It's early in the process, but I'll tell you, I know for a fact, I know what the leftists would like to do. They would like to take every gun, every round of ammunition you have in your possession, whether it's 22, 38 special, 9mm, 5.56, 308, 50 cal, especially, every semi-auto, every pump shotgun, every single shot shotgun away from you and prevent you from owning any of it and make you a ward of the state. That's what they'd like to do. Will they be able to do that? Well, step back and just feel the political environment. Feel the divisiveness of this country, and you tell me. I mean, look at what Hillary Clinton did. And why are we even listening to Hillary Clinton anymore? Like, during the news, I was like, everyone's quoting Hillary Clinton. I'm like, she lost. Is she a public opinion leader now? Apparently she is. Because I heard Fox News talking about Hillary Clinton, other news feeds, other YouTube channels talking about Hillary Clinton's tweet in which she said, hey, it's a good thing he didn't have a silencer, because if he did, a lot more people would have died. Relax, I'll talk about the silencer issue here in a minute, if I remember. I'm going to write myself a note. But seeing what she did was I smell a freaking skunk coming. I better close this up. Sorry. I gotta close this up, dude. I'm camped out right next to a patch of woods right now. Freaking skunks will stink it up forever. I have my fans on right now, so I'm locking it up. No, I'm not joking. I'm boondocking right now. Got the generator on and everything. Seriously, you might be able to hear that Honda generator out there. Yeah, so Hillary Clinton stupidly does this tweet and reveals her hand. So she's talking about, hey, let's not politicize the event. We need to shut down the NRA. To that effect. She hates NRA. All the Democrats do. And basically putting this massacre on top of the NRA. Oh yeah, and their Hearing Protection Act. Trying to get political traction on that. That shows you what they're thinking. I mean, it was the same day. Wisely, Barack Obama even tweeted out, hey, we feel sorry for the families. We're praying for them. Something high class and non-political. That's what you do. The reason I bring up Clinton's tweet is because it shows what's coming, and it shows that they are going to make political hay off this event. Just like a lot of channels have talked about. A lot of YouTubers have talked about that. And you're going to see it coming. Maybe a complete banning on magazine-fed weapons. A complete banning of AR-15s. A complete banning on you owning any more than 100 rounds at your house. You know, an attachment of felony charges if you violate any of the upcoming gun laws. I'm spitballing here. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But I have seen how these political forces work. And we all saw together after Sandy Hook what they were proposing. And a lot of those same things I talked about were on the table. And they really, really wanted them. The only way we pushed them back was through a concerted effort. My tiny channel made a small difference in it. We all did letter writing. We may have to do that again, just depending on what happens. And we were able, as gun owners, to turn it back. Thank heavens we have the NRA. And it always infuriates me when I hear someone like Clinton talk about, well, the powerful gun lobby. What? The powerful gun lobby? You have ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, every Hollywood entity, every talk show, every comedy show, which is anti-NRA, anti-gun ownership. And it is an onslaught of propaganda trying to disarm America. It's been that way for a long time. And you have just a small little entity in comparison, the NRA out here, upholding the constitutionality of gun ownership. That's it. And yet they're the all-powerful gun lobby. Now, what the NRA is representative of Americans like you and I. Millions of Americans joined the biggest civil rights organization, the NRA, to prevent us getting stripped of our self-defense rights. So anytime pushback, anytime you hear that term, NRA is, they're all-powerful gun lobby. They're not all-powerful. Very underfunded. All the gun manufacturers are always fighting tooth and nail just to stay in business. The liability lawsuits that come to them, it's not powerful at all. What's powerful are the voices of you and I who join the NRA. Gun owners of America as well. That's powerful. So it's not really a money thing. It's a political representation issue. And we join because they represent, by and large, not perfectly, but by and large, our viewpoints. And they have money to fight politically. So, of course, you should be an NRA member. Life member. If not, join now. I've always said that. Shame on you if you're not an NRA member. Shame on you. Yeah, but the NRA doesn't, it does this and does that. Dude, shut it. Join. Okay, guys who sit on the sideline and bitch and moan about gun rights and this is going to do this, and I find out they're not part of the fight. I've always said that. Infuriate me. Same with all the TMPers I know. We're like, dude, come on. We're doing the political battle here. Help us out. It's simple. If you're such a perfectionist, then you need to kind of really look in the mirror and say, hey, what's really important to me? Every political thing's that way. Well, this candidate's not perfect. Trump's not perfect. I'd never vote for him. Well, he's a hell of a lot better than Hillary Clinton. Can you imagine what would be happening right now after the Las Vegas shooting? If Hillary Clinton was the president, we would see UGR, Universal Gun Registration, I'm just calling it that for now, fast-tracked. My prediction. Among other things, you'd see it fast-tracked. Now, if she had a Republican Congress to fight with, maybe there'd be some complications. You're going to hear about this a lot. The media is not going to drop this. They're going to just constantly push this, which is kind of hypocritical because there have been other shootings which they don't cover at all. Like if it's a person of color who's done the shooting, they don't talk about it. That one dude who walked up to that reporter and literally shot her while she was filming a piece. And I forget the dude's name. I don't even want to say his name. It was a black reporter who was fired because he wasn't good at his job, came back, and during her filming of that, shot her in the face with a Glock. You heard about that for about 20 hours in the news cycle, and then it was brushed off. Yes, there is a narrative they want to push, and the narrative is, hey, there's an extreme right-wing group out there. They need to be disarmed for the good of the country. Is it correct? Absolutely not. It's fictitious. But that is what they're going to push. And this falls in line with that narrative. Granted, it's early in the aftermath. We don't really know what the motive was, who he was affiliated with. We don't know. All that could change. But I think we have a lot of historical data to draw upon about how they're going to spin this and what's going to happen. It's going to gain a lot of momentum, and I think it's going to be kind of a 9/11 style touchstone for the left. See, we told you so. This is what happens. And they're going to constantly put the finger in your chest and say, you're the gun lobby and you're to blame. You're not to blame. I've always said in these response videos, the person to blame is the person who did it. It was his choice to do it. He's the one to blame. Not the NRA, not a gun manufacturer, not Mandalay Bay, probably not his wife. He did it. He concealed his motives. He planned, and he did it. We've seen this before. He did it. Gun control measures are coming. You can count on that. So stay politically active, stay aware, and just don't sit on the sidelines. Help us fight to preserve the Constitution. That's really what we're talking about. We're talking about preserving the Constitution. That's what we're talking about, right? I mean, if you want to sit on the sideline and just watch it get shredded, that's your call. But, dude, I have zero respect for you if you do that. Zero. Now, there may be some discussions on, and I almost hate to bring this up because I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't go down the road of conspiracies. I don't spend time listening to people who talk about conspiracies. But, false flag. Was this something to, get gun control talked about again? We don't know yet. But the reason I'm mentioning it is in the realm of possibility. There, I said it. It is in the realm of possibility that, hey, this dude, maybe he was left-leaning, and he figured, hey, I'm just going to go send some rounds down, by the way, into a pretty God-fearing crowd, a freedom-loving crowd, a military and law enforcement supporting crowd, who 2 hours previously, according to country singer John Rich, who was on stage, had been linked in arms singing the national anthem. And he decided that that was a crowd he was going to fire upon. Wasn't an Antifa rally. It wasn't a BLM rally. It was country people, God-fearing people. Do you think that perhaps most of those people were conservative? Yeah, it's a good bet. Let me guess, 85%, 90% conservative in that group of people? Probably. I love John Rich's response. Today I listened to him. He was on one of the news feeds, and man, I have nothing but respect for that guy. I didn't know who he was until today, but he's a concealed carry permit holder. So he was down the road at one of his bars in Las Vegas when they called him and said, hey, there's a bad thing going down here. There's a mass shooting going on. And I think it was him that told the story that an off-duty police officer said, hey, I don't have my gun. Showed him his credentials. I need a gun to defend this bar. I don't know if people are going to come into this bar. And I think John Rich surrendered his gun to the off-duty police officer, which amazingly is not allowed to carry in the state of Nevada, apparently. Otherwise, he would have had it. That's a whole different subject. And dude does his job. And yes, you're hearing about it now. You're going to hear about it for probably years to come. All the acts of heroism and selflessness in the wake of the shooting. And I respect all of that. But other news feeds and other channels will cover that. We're going to focus more on the aftermath and what's kind of coming that will affect you as a gun owner. That's kind of, I think, what we are going to talk about mostly in this video. So it's going to have far-reaching consequences, and it's going to gain a lot of momentum. And I don't mean to downplay the seriousness of the event at all. I mean, The death toll is approaching 60 now. It's probably going to go higher. Heaven forbid. It's horrible. 500 people wounded. I mean, it's just horrific. Now let's ask the question this. Could it have been prevented? So that's always what people, the media will center around. Well, I'm going to pretend there's a centered media, so they don't have a political agenda one way or the other. A true media will, it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to have a debate and say, hey, as a society, what are we doing? Is there any way that we can societally prevent this? Let's talk about the mechanics of it. I've heard a lot of criticisms towards the hotel and us as a free society saying, how did he get all these guns in the hotel? He built platforms. He knocked the windows out. You know, it's kind of like a searchlight of blame. It's looking like we need to blame someone. Let's blame Mandalay Bay. I think that's wrong. From what I know now, subject to change, but I mean, think about it. Do you really want to check into a hotel? Every hotel in America, you go through a metal detector. Every hotel in America, they have to hire a security guard, and they rifle through all your belongings. Hey, that's a duffel bag. We need to look through it. Come on. It is so ridiculous to think that's going to happen. Now, there are a lot of people that would like it to happen, and they think that you can guarantee safety, that you can throw a blanket of governmental safety over every event, that somehow government can somehow prevent it. We've already discussed this many times. It's fantasy. If an evil person wants to do evil things, he doesn't need a gun. And nor am I going to sit here in front of the camera and enumerate all the different things he could use. But in Nice, France, 82, 83 people got killed by a guy in a truck, in a delivery truck. We haven't banned delivery trucks yet. And there were more people killed in that incident than there were here. Ben Shapiro sent out a tweet on that I forwarded it and retweeted it on my Twitter account. It was spot on. Could you have prevented it? No. So let's say in a fantasy world, you lock down all the hotels in America, that somehow, somewhere, you know, that you find all the millions and millions of dollars necessary to pay the people who do this work, to get the technology, and you're scanning everything. It's like an airport. So everything's like an airport. You're going through security this, security that. It's 1984, man. It's ridiculous. Do you want to live that way? I don't want to live that way. I don't want to go through all that nonsense. And yeah, I'm a concealed carry permit holder. Maybe I do have an AR-15 with me. It's my business. But that's how they're going to spin it. They're going to say, oh, anybody who owns a black rifle is evil. They're a threat to society. No, they're not. You know how many millions and millions of black rifles there are, and we have one incident like this? I'm not downplaying the incident, but I'm talking statistically. And yet we want to change all our laws for this one incident. We've talked about that. And here we are again. The touchstone event when they want to do it. And they're going to have political support and public support and momentum to push it through. You watch. I'm predicting it. It's going to happen. It's going to be the biggest gunfight, and I don't mean gunfight, but political fight that we've probably seen to date. I hope I'm totally wrong. You can't prevent it. I mean, it's just... think of all the other places. You're going to defend every place that there's, a shooter on the knoll? Anywhere there's an overlooked position, you're going to somehow defend that? It's impossible. You can't defend every target. It's just impossible. Again, evil people will find a way to do evil. They'll find a way to hurt people and, unfortunately, to kill people. It's happened again. Now, what you could do realistically is probably have some Overwatch counter snipers on duty. That's doable. So, you have a public event, you have some really awesome counter snipers on duty from law enforcement. I think that is in the realm of possibility. And they're watching over it just like they do when the president comes to town. They're watching all the windows, they've scoped it out. That's more affordable, it's more doable, and I would support that. And you could have acoustic technology. If there are shots ringing out, they'll find out. Military's had that for years. They can immediately pinpoint where the shot came from. Suppressed or not, by the way. Don't know if you knew that. Doesn't matter. They'll know exactly where it came from within milliseconds. And to law enforcement credit, and President Trump mentioned this, and so did the local sheriff, and I think some other LE down there in Vegas. I was amazed at how fast they triangulated that shot and found out where he was. I mean, out of all those windows, I mean, they were there, like quick. So that's a law enforcement, actually not just one, but multiple law enforcement agencies having practiced active shooter response, and you see how good they were at it. As soon as they knew what to do, they got there quick, and they did eliminate further loss of life. Kudos to them. Well played. But to completely prevent it, put Overwatch on it, I'm all for that. And you might even publicize it. You know, hey, we're going to have a music festival. By the way, we've got 10 Overwatch snipers. So if you're thinking you're going to do something, you know, would it minimize a mass shooting? Well, it could dissuade some. Again, there's so many different ways people can inflict harm on other human beings. Unfortunately, they can get super creative. Again, Nice, a truck, a delivery truck. They didn't use no gun there, no explosive, a freaking truck. Remember that lady in Las Vegas? I think it was Las Vegas. She drove down the boulevard and mowed all those people over. Yeah. A car. Knife wielding people doing harm. I mean, it's sad. We live in this world. Which will take us to motive. Why did he do it? Well, we don't know for sure. Is he, connected to terrorism of some sort? We don't know. It's too early to comment. And in past videos, to be honest, what I've said is it doesn't really matter the motive. He's a murderer and he needs to be stopped. I'll agree with that. I will step back to this. And this is, I don't know if I've ever expressed this sentiment in a mass shooting response video, but I'll do it here. That guy who decided, and I don't even know his name, I don't want to repeat his name, that decided to do that, there was a thought process that he did. And I have to think that somehow he dehumanized other human beings. Don't know if he's making a political statement, don't know if it's false flag, don't know if his motivation was this or that. But I'm going to assume just for this response here that he's disconnected from society. That maybe he thinks that the world is already coming to an end. That he sees the strife going on day by day. He sees, the acrimony between the political factions. He sees the divisiveness of the United States. He sees this, that. And I will admit, it's a dark cloud. I mean, we see this day to day. I mean, I like bringing in the good. And that's what I do. That's what I try to show on my channel, is I bring in the good. I don't concentrate on the bad. I do that in my daily life. I serve other people. I try to be kind to other people. I try to apply the golden rule. I look for opportunities to serve other people. I try to be open-minded. I do hold to my own belief system, though, and I don't apologize for it. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And that is something I will never apologize for. I don't push it on other people. I don't say, hey, you better believe exactly like me or else. I don't do that. But it's my belief system. But what we see in the United States now is this acrimony, this hatred one against another, and particularly from the left, we see a lot of this. La, 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 I'm not listening, just charges of racism, hate mongers. There's no logic. It's all negativity and hatred, really. And so there's no discussion. There's no productive debate. There's no productive give and take. There's no productive compromise. And you have people that watch this. And this guy may have been that way. And he goes, what's the point? I'm just guessing. I'm totally spitballing. What I would say is maybe it's someone you know. Watch for this. And maybe they get into this dark place and they figure there's no other way out. And they just get super negative. In some ways, and I'm talking very honestly here, maybe it's like a suicide person that they really don't see enough. They're not thinking clearly. And what I would admonish you is to be aware of folks like that. Or if you feel that way, get help. Talk to people. There's counseling. available to you. And to just talk about your feelings is so cathartic. It will make you feel better. It will alleviate a burden. And you'll find out that perhaps the way you perceive life, the way you perceive society and all its woes was maybe a misperception. That there's still so much good in life. There's so many great people in life. There's so many reasons to continue to live. There's so many reasons to show kindness to other people. And a lot of what we hear is a misrepresentation, I feel, of what life is really like. In other words, if we turn on the media, CNN, for instance, we hear negative this, negative that, Trump sucks, Trump's racist, Trump's that, and then you go out in your daily life, you see people being kind with each other of multiple races, and there's really no racial acrimony at all, there's no disharmony at all, which I see in my daily life all the time. We all get along great. It's a misrepresentation. It's a political agenda, trying to divide people for a political purpose, for political hate. And if you could help people see the good and see the reality of the goodness in the world, maybe we could prevent someone going down that dark road. Get professional help. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Choose your media sources wisely. Because sometimes some media sources will take you into that darker place. And you shouldn't do that. So I don't know if I've ever expressed that before, but I say, be on the lookout. Again, it might be someone who is thinking of ending their own lives, doing something dark and horrific like this. There might be some warning signs. Now, what we're hearing from this dude right now, or at least he's dead, but his family and friends, is there were no warning signs. And again, it's early. We don't know. We don't know. Maybe he was expert in concealing everything, and that could very well be. But there's always a way out. There's always a way out. Don't ever think that it's so dark that I have to go do this thing. And you should understand the gravity of, God, it just seems so obvious to say, but the gravity of taking another human life. I've always said that. I mean, human life is sacred. You should do everything in your power never to do it. And that's me as a sworn military member, to uphold and defend the Constitution, but I also feel to uphold and defend life in general. To defend good people. Sheepdog concept. Again, defend good people. So watch out for that. And if ever you feel that way, talk about it. Go to someone, talk about it. Talk it out and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Be super honest. Someone you can trust. Maybe it's a professional counselor. And talk. And then unload, unburden yourself with all the thoughts, and then you may feel better. And you go, you know what? I was kind of looking at this the wrong way. It's not that way. Get me? I think that is a very productive answer in this. It's not going to be gun control. It's not going to be metal detectors. It's not going to be searching through duffel bags. It is something much more meaningful and much more lasting. And that is getting to the heart of why people get to a place where they think it's okay to go to a, 30-story building and start shooting into a crowd of people. How does he arrive to that conclusion? I think dehumanization is that he's dehumanized people. He doesn't see them as human beings anymore. He sees them as something else. And you know what I'm saying. I have a feeling right now you guys know exactly what I'm saying. I think as they discuss motive, again, I think they're going to really strive to portray him as a right-winger, as an extremist, 64-year-old white guy. And because they really want to throw that narrative against the wall and make it stick and portray people like that, like me, as, I'm not 64, and as a threat to society. Watch for that. It's been happening all along. I don't think this is anything new, but this, again, will give a lot more momentum. You know, what type of weapon did he use? Well, I've heard a lot of guesses today. I did listen to the video, and to me it sounds like a fully automatic firearm. Okay, so, which, by the way, since 1986 has been almost impossible for a civilian to have legally, which shows the hypocrisy of any gun control push. I tweeted about this as well. It's like, well, it's a machine gun. Well, he probably converted that illegally. Did he use another trigger device? I don't know, but listening to the rate of fire, it sounded pretty consistent with echoes and reverberation. It's hard to tell, but it sounded like a full auto firearm, which he probably converted himself. He probably had some machining knowledge. He had a lot of money, apparently. Not too hard to do. But doesn't that drive to the issue of the fallacy of the effectiveness of any gun control law? I mean, look at what happens in Chicago every night. I mean, Chicago is one of the most restrictive gun-owning cities in America, and there's murders every night in Chicago. Where do they get their guns? Well, they go to this state and get them. They go to that state. Well, they're still illegal. It's still a felony to own and do what they're doing, but they're doing it every night. You know, I guarantee you this guy didn't, well, I can't guarantee you, but I suspect these were not legal, i.e. registered fully automatic firearms that he's shooting with. You know, it was a RPK, don't know. I heard that doctor say it was a heavy caliber ammunition. I don't know. That's preliminary. You know, converted AR-15, we heard that today. Who knows? But chances are he did it himself, which again is a felony, which again is already illegal, but he did it anyhow. And if someone didn't have the gun, they can get it. You can get any gun you want on the black market. We all know this. Any right-thinking person knows that gun control is a fallacy. Hey man, you can't, I want a Glock and I'm in England. You can get a Glock in England. Just going to have to pay for it. I'm in Japan, I want an AR-15. They're illegal in Japan. Well, I bet you if you have enough money, you can probably find an AR-15 in Japan. Get my point? But that's really not germane to the leftist agenda. They don't really care if it's effective or not. Their goal is to make it as difficult as possible for you to have a gun, to disarm the good people. You can present them with all types of facts of, hey, it doesn't affect crime, it doesn't affect violent crime. Most of the violent crime is not perpetuated by such a firearm, whether it's a semi-automatic, and in extremely rare cases like this one, fully automatic, long arms, it's rare. You know, that's, but they you know, don't bother me with the facts. All I know is I don't want you to have a gun. I want to be able to control you. People control you. That's honestly their agenda. That's what they want. They don't want you to travel anywhere. They want to take away your transportation. They want to take away your firearms, and they want to control your media, and on and on and on. Seriously, that's the agenda. And there's a small contingent which are pushing back against that politically. Weapon type, you know, does it matter what he used? I don't know. And they're already doing this, but they're going to concentrate on how many guns he had. And what they're going to do is equate the number of guns equals crazy person. Remember, you heard it here first. So, dude, he had how many guns in the hotel room? How many at the house? Oh my gosh. Insane. He's insane. We could see 1 or 2 or 3. And now they're going to equate with anyone having that type of arsenal as being dangerous to society, which we all know is fake. It's artificial. It's a lie. If it were true, wouldn't we have mass shootings to this level every day? Because there are millions of people that have tens, dozens of guns. So it's not the device which corrupts, it's the lack of value system. It is the detachment from society. It is the dehumanization of other human beings by these individuals for whatever reason. And maybe some political motives, some terrorism motives. We don't know. But it's not the gun. You know, if a guy's driving a Corvette down the road that's 500, 650 horsepower, is he a danger to society? Well, potentially, but statistically, are guys that are driving powerful cars, let's say a freaking 500 horsepower or more, should we just make that illegal to have that? Well, we haven't. But that thing's capable of doing 160, 170 miles an hour down the road. He could kill a whole bunch of people. You know, swimming pools kill children every year, and yet we still have swimming pools. We allow these to exist in our society. I'm talking just about the quantity of guns here, not their individual capabilities, the quantity of guns. Again, this guy, it appears, has what a lot of people would consider to be a lot. He did this horrific mass shooting, and now the progressives, or as I say, the protectionists, will say, hey, people who own a lot of guns are susceptible to doing this damage to society. We need to pass yet another law. We need to issue arsenal licenses, and you will be subject to home inspections. And if you violate it, again, felony. Again, I'm just guessing, but it sounds in line with what I know about their agenda. And then if you add in capability, look out. That's even worse. So any semi-automatic firearm will be treated just like a machine gun with the progressives. They'll just say, they make no distinction right now. So they'll use assault rifle, machine gun, semi-automatic interchangeably. To a gun person like us, we know there's a world of difference, and that's completely illogical. But again, don't count on logic. If you do, you're going to fail. They don't care about logic. All they care about is, honestly, propaganda. They want to control the minds of the American populace. And so it's easier to do so when you say machine gun. And most people don't know the difference. They don't know machine gun, assault rifle, semi-automatic. They don't care. What they will remember is that video. The sound of that video and the sound of that, of those shots reverberating out of Mandalay Bay, that will be remembered forever. Again, this will be a touchstone event. Remember, I told you this. They will use it over and over again, and it will gain political traction. It will. It will. It was a big event. It's going to gain political traction, and a lot of proposals are coming at you. Get ready. Semi-automatic firearms, whew, they would love it to make them completely banned. Maybe to the extent, not only are they not grandfathered, but you need to turn them in now. Could that happen in the United States of America? Absolutely. I've always said that. I said it's a matter of when. And I predicted that it would probably be a horrific mass shooting like this when they would springboard and do that. So here we are. Here we are. Now, if you disagree with what I'm saying, that's totally fine. I respect your opinion to disagree. If you thumbs down this video, then I want to know why. So in your comment, you go, hey, I thumbs down this video, and this is why. So be a man and say why. Say, well, I don't think gun control is coming, or I don't think anyone should own a gun. That's okay if you feel that way. You respect my opinion, I'll respect yours. Say why. I mean, be man enough to lay it out there. Because maybe you're going to tell me something that I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say I have all the answers. I don't. But I've been on this earth for a long time. I've been through this cycle, this style of cycle, of the mass shootings, active shooters many times. Retired Lieutenant Colonel, Air Force. I've seen lots of conflict. I've served overseas multiple times. So I have some life experience on which to base my philosophies. I have some logic to base my philosophies. I have a strong moral system, I feel, to base my philosophies. And again, getting back to dangerous things, what dictates the use of that Corvette? The dangerous thing, 650 horsepower. The guy driving it. What dictates the use of an AK variant rifle with a 90 round drum magazine? The guy that has it. If there's no value system there, or if they're detached, then you are from consequences, dehumanization, which I've talked about here in this video, well, you know what happens. You want to repair America, you want to repair what's going on, repair the family. Repair the family. Now, I'm not necessarily addressing this individual that did this horrific thing, but repair the family. Mom and dad in the family that love their children, that set standards, that teach them moral systems, moral education. It's not about guns, it's about parenting, says me. No apology. No apologies. It's about parenting. And empathy. Have pets, being kind to things, kind to animals, serving animals. practicing to be a valued member and an empathetic member, a giving member in society. I think a lot of that's lacking. It really is. Again, this is broad picture. We're not really concentrating on what happened in Las Vegas. How long have I been talking? Holy cow. This is going to be feature length. So I'm going to sign off. There's a lot of other things I could talk about. Oh, I was going to talk about the Hearing Protection Act. Like Hillary Clinton, see, I wrote myself a note, remembered. Hillary Clinton said, hey, you know, good thing you didn't have a silencer because a lot more people would have died. Again, we see the ignorance of facts. Fully automatic gun, doesn't matter what it is, full auto AR-15, GP, M249, RPK, you're not going to suppress those. They get hot way too fast. Me shooting a can, I find about 2 mags, you better watch out. And that's semi-automatic fire, not full auto. A can does not work, but she doesn't care about the facts. The left doesn't care about the facts. They don't research it, and honestly, they're completely ignorant of the technology and the terms, which I said earlier. You know this. So they don't care. So, hey, dude, you know, you can't use a can on a fully automatic gun. So what you're saying is actually null and void. So there's no way he could have done what he did, at least with the rate of fire he did, with a can on his gun. Wouldn't have happened. They don't care. And again, they're trying to use political expediency, springboarding off human tragedy to destroy the Constitution, to destroy your Second Amendment rights, to destroy your self-defense rights for your family, for your little girl, for your little boy. They want to take your guns away because they're going to portray you as the next possible mass shooter. Complete fantasy. It's not true, but that is what they're going to do. Because, again, they'll go back to quantity. Oh, this dude owns 6 guns? Oh, my gosh. How do you own 6 guns? And there'll be neighbors that will say that. Like, oh, my gosh, you're a Mandalay Bay guy. You're crazy. It's coming. I'm telling you it's coming. And here we are. So how do we fight it? Well, again, I say the basis of anything is a good moral system, of course, and then being politically active. NRA, GOA, get ready to write letters, vote, 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 vote. Don't sit on the sidelines and not vote. And support Trump, because Trump's going to get a lot of heat, I predict, in passing this stuff. And we need to just flood the White House with, hey, dude, I voted for you to defend my Second Amendment rights. Do not waffle. Do not cave to this, because he's going to be under tremendous political pressure. I predict, could be completely wrong. If I am, I will celebrate that I'm wrong. But I think that's what's going to happen. Nothing fancy. See ya.